Still, I can't shake the feeling that if anyone wanted to target you two while making it look like an accident, this Triwizard Tournament is the perfect chance. From my point of view, it's a flawless plan, Harry said, glancing at Lupin's open book. Even knowing the method to deal with the dragon, I think I'd faint when I saw it. It's all right, Harry. I'm here. Remus and I can teach you the blinding spell right now, Sirius encouraged. It's simple. You just aim at the dragon's eyes. For the next while, Sirius and Lupin took turns explaining the blinding spell from the book. Harry visibly relaxed. Derek, meanwhile, began thinking differently. He resolved to improve his strategy for facing the dragon, not relying solely on the blinding spell. Situations could change, after all. Bagnall looked at them like Santa pulling a giant toy out of his pocket, but the champions remained indifferent, silent. Derek shook his head slightly, acknowledging that he had heard him. Even with all his preparation, Derek's heartbeat quickened. Soon he would face a Hungarian horntail, or at least a dragon, likely female, and attempt to snatch the prize from beneath it. Ladies first, Bagnall said, opening the bag and holding it out to Fleur. She reached in with a trembling hand and pulled out a small, perfectly detailed dragon model, a Welsh green, its neck tagged with the number 2. Derek noticed her expression was calm, resigned rather than shocked. He realized Sirius and Lupin were right. Cheating was a traditional part of the Triwizard Tournament. Crumb's reaction confirmed it. He retrieved a Hungarian horntail, tagged number 4. He didn't even blink, plopped down and stared at the ground. Derek reached into the bag and drew a bright red Chinese fireball, tagged number 3. He felt an odd sense of destiny and couldn't help but smile slightly. Finally, Harry took the last model, number 1, the Swedish short snout. All right, everyone has their dragon, Bagnall announced. The number on the dragon's neck shows the order in which you'll face them. Understood? I'll step away for a moment to give commentary to the audience. Harry, you're first. When you hear the whistle, step onto the field. Now, can we talk for a moment outside? Okay, Harry said uncertainly, following Bagnall outside. He didn't return immediately. The distant whistle blew. Bagnall's voice carried across the arena. Welcome, spectators, to the first task of the Triwizard Tournament. Each champion will face a dragon and retrieve a golden egg under its protection. First up, representing Hogwarts, Harry Potter. Seconds later, Derek heard the roar of the crowd, signaling that Harry had entered the field, confronting the real-life version of his model. Very bold, very decisive, very precise, Bagnall shouted minutes later as the Swedish short snout let out a deafening roar. The crowd inhaled in unison. Our youngest champion shows incredible courage. Yes, he has the golden egg. Thunderous applause shattered the cold winter air, shaking the ground, with many stomping and jumping in excitement. Harry had succeeded, and now it was Fleur's turn. Absolutely brilliant, Bagnall called. Judges, score her. He didn't announce a score. Derek guessed it was to reduce pressure on the remaining champions. 1 down, 3 to go. The whistle blew again. Miss Delacour stepped forward. Fleur trembled from head to toe, chin raised, wand gripped tightly, and stepped out of the tent. Derek gripped the chair arms, waiting for his signal. The same sequence began. Oh, I'm not sure this is wise, Bagnall shouted excitedly. Oh, just missed it. Careful. I thought she had it. 10 minutes later, the crowd erupted again. Fleur had succeeded. A brief pause followed while scores were tallied, then another round of applause. The third whistle sounded. Derek straightened in his chair and strode to the tent entrance. Passing through a gap in the arena fence, the world outside became a blur of color. There it was, his Chinese fireball dragon. Its smooth scales gleamed crimson. Its face bore a lion-like snout surrounded by a halo of golden spiky frills, and its bulging eyes fixed on him. The audience roared. He had meant to glance at the Hufflepuff banner, but there was no time. He had to focus on a large-scale spell. Next up, Mr. Grado, Bagnall announced. Let's see his approach. Derek strode to a quarter of the field, stopping. The fireball snorted, spitting a small mushroom-shaped jet of flame, twisting its head, eyes locked on him. He raised his wand, not at the dragon, but toward the patch of withered weeds on the ground, whispering the spell. Let's see what Mr. Grado is doing, Bagnall called. What's he up to? Murmurs and snickers rose from the stands. For 5 minutes, Derek didn't move or attack the dragon, only pointing his wand at the ground and muttering. Maybe he needs prep time before facing the fireball. Oh, what's happening? Bagnall's voice was puzzled. The dragon stayed still. Derek stayed still. The problem was in the stands. Part of a faraway section began collapsing, slowly sinking. Students screamed sharply, "An accident in the stands!" Bagnall shouted. "Staff, please fix it! Wait, our champion's moving!" "About time," Derek muttered, slightly raising his wand, casually aiming at one spot on the dragon's body. "Though we're practically countrymen, today you'll feel a little pain. Hope you don't mind, huh? Stupefy! Stupefy! Stupefy!" He cast the stunning spell 3 times, each red jet hitting the dragon's crimson scales. It reared, claws digging into the ground, roaring in indignation, outraged at being challenged by a small figure. "This seems ineffective," Bagnall shouted, ignoring the stand's problem. "But the dragon's getting irritated." "Not angry enough?" Derek took careful steps forward, raising his voice. "One more. Stupefy." The spell hit the dragon's snout this time. It truly enraged the beast, which spread its wings and stepped forward, ready to fly overhead and unleash a deadly jet of flame. But it no longer had the chance. The solid ground beneath it had somehow turned into a quagmire of mud and swamp. Its 2 front claws sank in the instant it stepped forward. "Everything under control." Derek aimed his wand at the dragon's head. "Conjunctivitis curse!" The spell struck the dragon's eyes dead on. The Hungarian horntail let out a scream of pure agony, thrashing violently in a desperate attempt to escape the pain in the sinking mud. Its 2 hind legs dug frantically into the ground, but this only made things worse. The dragon drove its back half deeper into the swamp. Its massive wings were caked in heavy mud, useless for flight. It shut its eyes and whipped its enormous head around, spewing several mushroom-shaped fireballs. Derek kept a careful distance. The breath that could melt steel only stirred a wave of heat before him. He cast another conjunctivitis curse, and the dragon struggled even more fiercely, sinking ever deeper into the mire. Slowly, piece by piece, its claws vanished, then its belly, wings, and back disappeared, the mountain-sized body disappearing until only the dragon's head remained, wailing in despair. The crowd erupted in deafening cheers. Bagman's voice boomed. "Oh my goodness, oh my goodness! Marvelous, ingenious, and effortless!" Derek strode along the edge of the arena at a steady pace. The dragon writhed in pain, and aware of his gaze, but powerless to resist. Using transfiguration, Derek conjured a broad stone path beneath him and made his way to the golden egg. Then, lifting it triumphantly, the stands erupted in applause, shouts, and cheers. "Well done, Mr. Greengrass has secured the golden egg, but we'll need a few judges to handle this poor Hungarian horntail and restore the arena so Mr. Crumb can proceed safely." Derek held the golden egg high, waving toward Hufflepuff. He glimpsed the grand banner. They had tricked him. The previously blurry face had been replaced with Derek's image, his wand sending countless colorful stars spinning rapidly around him. In that moment, Derek thought the banner was stunning. Derek tucked the heavy golden egg under his arm and walked toward the arena entrance. Professors Dumbledore, Karkaroff, Madame Maxime, McGonagall, and Sprout stood in a circle, deep in discussion. "Excellent work, Mr. Greengrass," Professor McGonagall said loudly, which was high praise coming from her. "I am truly pleased you chose transfiguration as your method among so many magical disciplines. Perhaps we should consider the trouble he's caused," Karkaroff said coldly. "Dragging an enraged dragon out of the swamp and restoring the arena will require considerable effort. This is extremely unfair to Durmstrang." As a champion, Mr. Greengrass completed his task superbly. He defeated the dragon and claimed the golden egg. "That's enough," Professor Sprout's voice rang out. "Isn't it the judge's duty to maintain order in the tournament?" "Thank you, Pomona," Dumbledore said cheerfully, and Karkaroff looked momentarily stifled. "Mr. Greengrass, you appear unharmed, so there's no need for the infirmary. Madame Pomfrey will be relieved. We'll handle the minor issues here. Your friends must be anxious." Derek left the arena, and Ernie and the others paced anxiously in the corridor outside the infirmary. Seeing him, their faces lit with wild excitement. "Nothing can stop you! You're the best!" Ernie ran up, punching Derek's shoulder and roaring. "When Bagman said we'd have to face the dragon, we were terrified. And then, you handled it all single-handedly." Justin stumbled behind Ernie, giving Derek a punch as well, still buzzing with excitement. He carefully took the golden egg from Derek. It was quite a struggle to carry. "Derek, you're incredible!" Hannah screamed. Then she and Susan each planted a kiss on his cheek. "Congratulations, Derek. I knew you could do it." Hermione stood behind Susan and Hannah, clapping her hands and winking at him. The three shared a knowing smile. That large-scale transfiguration, turning the ground into a swamp, was their joint extension of their knowledge, and the difficulty lay in precise control and stable magical output. Today, Derek had mostly succeeded, though there were minor flaws. The area had been slightly too large, affecting the stands. "Thanks, Hermione," Derek said with a hint of double meaning. "How about Harry? How did he do?" "He got the golden egg without a hitch, just a minor accident," Hermione replied. "He was hit in the shoulder and is being treated inside by Madame Pomfrey." She nodded toward the tent. "Ron's with him, so they've patched things up," Derek remarked casually, unsurprised. "Yeah, it wasn't easy," Hermione said happily, though Derek noticed the slight redness in her eyes. Ron finally realized how dangerous this competition really is. "Come on, Derek," Ernie said. "Looks like they've moved that poor fireball and are ready to score you." They walked to the other side of the field. The swamp had disappeared, but the Chinese fireball lay on the ground like a weary puppy, weak and muddy, smoke curling from its nostrils. Dragon handlers pulled on the iron chain around its neck. Each tug made it shuffle forward, listless. "You know, you were the best performer today." "Nobody topped you even before Krum went," Ernie said excitedly. "Potter did something incredibly bold. He went straight to the Swedish short snout and hit it in the eye with a spell." The dragon struggled in pain, its claws smashing half the real eggs. "I'm guessing that'll lose him points." The dragon was too hurt to notice Potter grabbing the egg, and one flying shard hit him, but he still got it. Fleur from Beauxbatons cast a spell, probably to put the dragon to sleep. It almost worked. The dragon started dozing, but then snored, blasting a powerful jet of fire, burning her dress. She got hurt, but she extinguished it with water from her wand. "Understand, Derek?" He pounded Derek's shoulders repeatedly. "You weren't injured. Nothing went wrong. A perfect run. You'll get full marks." "I wasn't perfect. I accidentally collapsed part of the stands," Derek admitted. "The judges probably noticed." "That doesn't count against the task," Justin said cheerfully. "You scared the Slytherins half to death. They probably thought they'd fall in and get eaten." Malfoy nearly wet himself. They all laughed loudly, startling a flock of birds in the Forbidden Forest. By now, the fireball had been dragged away, and Derek could see the 5 judges seated in their elevated golden chairs to the right. "No one scores higher than 10, Justin explained. "Potter and Delacour both scored 40. Derek glanced upward as Madame Maxime raised her wand. A silver ribbon unfurled, twisting into the number 10. "Exactly!" Ernie raised both hands, clapping. Next, Crouch Sr. raised his wand and produced a 10. "Two 10s!" Justin shouted, clutching the golden egg. Then Dumbledore suddenly aimed and flicked. Another 10 appeared. The crowd erupted in cheers, anticipating a perfect score, a Hogwarts glory. It all depended on Bagnall. Surely he wouldn't ruin it. But above Ludolf Bagnall's head, a number appeared. 8. "What are you doing?" Ernie shouted, disappointed. "Are you even British, Bagnall? You gave Potter 10. The stands let out a synchronized groan. Excited spectators sank back, their dream of full marks dashed. "No worries, we're already at 38, Susan said encouragingly. "We can still outscore the first 2 champions by far." She was too optimistic. Karkaroff raised his wand, paused, and then a 2 shot out. "What?" Everyone except Derek shouted in disbelief. 2 points? Slytherin erupted in cheers, while the other 3 houses booed loudly. Hufflepuffs cursed in unison, shouting, "Eat dirt! Shameless! And disgrace! Damn Durmstrang!" Ernie growled, kicking a bush. Derek performed best, but got the same low score as the previous 2. Unbelievable. "Now I see people will do anything for victory," Justin said, his face dark with anger. Derek furrowed his brows, studying Karkaroff's expression carefully. "Everyone, quiet down!" Bagnall shouted. "The 4th champion, Victor Krum of Durmstrang." But the audience, especially Hufflepuffs, didn't hold back. Some upper-class students cast amplifying charms, and the boos grew louder than the champion's entrance whistle. Krum didn't hear a thing. The Hungarian Horntail snarled in frustration for minutes before Sprout had to climb the stands to restore order and send him out personally. Despicable old man, Karkaroff. Ernie ground his teeth. He gave Potter 4, Delacour 4, and you 2 points. Shameless. I hope Crumb's task goes badly so the other judges can rightfully give low scores. Ernie, Hannah scolded in alarm. Thank you all, Derek said calmly. The 3 of us are tied for first. I'm not disappointed. Let's keep watching the tournament. Derek struggled to clasp the golden egg shut. Everyone around him held their breath, eyes wide, as if the egg might suddenly spring to life and bite. What's that sound? Hannah asked cautiously. A banshee, Derek. You might have to duel one next time. I think it sounds more like a poltergeist laughing, Justin said. Is there any spell that can harm a ghost? I can think of one right now. Derek tossed the egg aside and struggled to his feet. Holding it had left him unable to cover his ears or steady himself. His eardrums and backside ached terribly. He muttered, When you were second years, didn't the basilisk petrify the Gryffindor ghost? Justin's face turned pale. After serving as the mascot, Derek could finally sit and rest. The Hufflepuffs busied themselves with eating, drinking, and chatting. Don't let that ghostly scream ruin your mood. Today's a celebration, Ernie said breezily. Want some cauldron cake, Derek? Thanks. Derek took a hearty bite, then thought aloud. Bagman said the golden egg can reveal the next task, so the screams carry information. I need to figure out a way to understand it. That's the real challenge. Yeah, but tonight you can let your brain take a break. Cough, cuff, ah. Ernie sipped his flaming whiskey but immediately choked. This stuff's intense, man. This is strong liquor. You should take it easy, Derek said, opening a bottle of butterbeer. We wouldn't want Hogwarts laws on underage drinking to catch up with us. Ernie ignored the warning and took another sip. It's fine, not bad. Life is full of firsts worth trying. You did say that, didn't you? His voice became hoarse. Everything's spinning. Is this what being drunk feels like? I'll try a bit more. He tipped back the rest of his glass in one gulp. Derek stared, dumbfounded. In the next few minutes, Ernie kept wagging his finger at Derek, asking repeatedly whether it was 1 or 2, muttering incoherent ramblings, and finally slumped into a soft chair to sleep, snoring. Seeing this, Derek resolutely ignored his own whiskey. At 1 a.m., Professor Sprout, still in her loose pajamas and patch-covered hat, arrived to enforce bedtime. Only then did the Hufflepuff's revelry truly end. Unfortunately, she immediately detected the scent of alcohol. A quick inspection revealed 7 or 8 younger students passed out drunk on sofas and chairs. Ernie had already been magically returned to bed by Derek. Sprout flew into a rage and called Cedric, the prefect, over for a severe reprimand. When Cedric's helpless, wry smile met Derek's eyes, he silently mouthed, "Congrats." It was their first exchange since Halloween night, and Derek could tell Cedric still hadn't forgiven him. From Derek's perspective, forgive could just as well mean understand. December brought wind, rain, and snow to Hogwarts, but the students' excitement for the Triwizard Tournament burned like a roaring hearth. Hallways buzzed with chatter about the competition, and the methods used by the 4 champions against dragons became the most popular stories. Derek and Harry, once ignored as new champions, were now receiving Ravenclaw support, while only Slytherin remained unimpressed, but their taunts were harmless. Derek also faced a new problem. He now had fans. On Wednesday morning, after breakfast with Susan, he was heading to the 5th floor for divination when a second-year Ravenclaw girl stopped him on the stairs. "Hello, Derek," the curly-haired girl said shyly. "You were amazing in the first task. I took some photos. Could you sign one?" "Sorry, I never intended to be a celebrity," Derek replied. "I'm on my way to class, so please step aside." The 12-year-old looked genuinely wounded, lips pursed, eyes brimming with tears. Derek glanced at Susan, who had covered her face, trying not to laugh. He turned back to the girl and said helplessly, Thank you for the support. I'm flattered. But I really have to get to class." "Okay, fine. Give me the photo. I'll sign it. And then let us through, all right?" The girl's tears turned to a smile. She handed him the photo and a quill. Derek was surprised. The shot captured the moment he had provoked the dragon with a stunning spell, 3 red beams flying toward the Chinese fireball dragon, which roared in fury. "Here." He signed it, handed back the photo and quill, and added, "Just this once. Don't make it a habit." The girl ran off with her prize. Susan couldn't contain herself, bursting into laughter. "Can you give me one of your signed photos too, esteemed Mr. Greedo?" she asked. "I want to hang it on my wall." "You can take my completed numerology chart instead," Derek said sternly. "But after this, you won't have a chance to compare it to my answers again." All right," Susan feigned fear. "I wouldn't dare offend Champion Derek. What if he threw me into a swamp too? We better hurry upstairs. Class is about to start." Derek checked his watch. "This isn't over, Derek," Susan said with a grin. "I guarantee you won't be signing for just one person." Her prediction came true. After signing for the curly-haired girl, it seemed like a signal had been sent. From the first to third floors, Derek was repeatedly recognized and stopped for autographs, causing significant delay. Susan finally abandoned him and ran ahead to the divination classroom. By the time Derek had taken a shortcut and reached the fifth floor, class had been in session for 5 minutes. "Ah! Is he copying Potter?" 5 minutes later, Ernie shouted, "They're all using the Eye Strike spell against the dragons." "That's the Eye Affliction curse," Derek explained. "Simple and effective. The best choice for dragons. I used it too to drive them mad." On the field, the Hungarian horntail screamed sharply, its mouth opening to spew flames. Compared to the Chinese fireball, its breath might lack power, but the range easily reached 40 feet. The spiked tail whipped violently across the ground, making a dangerous zone of at least 20 feet around it. Rocks and fire flew in tandem with its body and tail. Crumb advanced cautiously, relying on his world-class seeker agility, using his wand to block the projectiles he couldn't dodge. "His situation is far worse than Harry Potter's," Hannah said. "The Horntail's ferocity is definitely on another level. Then he won't get a high score either." Justin said with satisfaction, "He's using Potter's old method, but the task is so brutal the judges won't be impressed." Justin was right. Though Crumb fought through injuries and retrieved the golden egg, the judges' reactions were lukewarm, likely aggravated by Karkaroff's earlier bias in the first rounds. Madame Maxime awarded 6 points, Crouch 7, Dumbledore 8, Bagnall 6, and finally Karkaroff hastily gave 10, prompting laughter from the stands. He pretended not to hear and snarled at the other 4 judges. Once Crumb tended to his injuries, all 4 champions returned to the prep tent. Harry raised an arm with a grin, Fleur had a fresh dress, and Crumb, wrapped in bandages, looked dark and miserable. "You all did well," Ludo Bagnall exclaimed, hopping into the tent like a child who had just conquered a dragon himself. "I only have a few words. The second task starts at 9:30 a.m. on February 24th next year. Until then, you can rest, though we'll leave a few puzzles for you. Look at the golden eggs in your hands. See the seams? You must decipher the clues inside. That will tell you what the second task is, so you can prepare. Clear? No questions? All right, you're dismissed." That evening, the Hufflepuff common room erupted in celebration once more for Derek's triumph. Tables and chairs were piled with mountains of cakes, jugs of pumpkin juice, and butterbeer. Some upperclassmen even managed to smuggle in fire whiskey from the 3 broomsticks, dividing small cups for everyone. The carefully crafted banner hung high, updated again, this time showing a dragon crawling submissively under Derek's feet. Nearby, fireworks sparkled, filling the air with stars and sparks. This time, Derek couldn't slip away like before. Several students lifted him onto their shoulders and paraded him around the common room repeatedly, the crowd cheering and clamoring to touch him in excitement. By the time he was set down, his hands were swollen from all the gripping. "This feels like it's actually made of gold. It's heavy," Justin said, handing Derek the golden egg. "Open it, Derek. Let's see what's inside." The suggestion sparked another round of cheers. Derek was lifted again, clutching the egg, as the crowd chanted in unison, "Open it! Open it!" All right, I'll open it now," Derek shouted. "Can you put me down after? I'm getting dizzy." The crowd fell silent for half a second before erupting in laughter, all eyes fixed on him. Derek pried at the ringed groove on the egg with his nails. It was empty, nothing inside. But the moment it opened, a shrill, horrifying scream filled the room. The 2 students holding Derek's shoulders went weak in the knees, and 3 others tumbled to the ground in shock. "Shut it! Shut it!" Ernie yelled, covering his ears. "As we were just saying, perfect timing, Mr. Greedo. We've just finished reviewing the assignments. Professor Victor said, setting down a rolled-up parchment. Take a seat. Miss Granger saved you a spot. Your assignment is with her. Still perfect. Just keep an eye on the time next round. As I mentioned, our study of the Kabbalistic number table is taking a pause, but that doesn't mean it disappears from our lives. I'm assigning an optional task. Use the table to outline someone's personality, then compare it to recent events in their life to see if things unfolded as predicted. Why are you late? Hermione whispered. Harry asked me to give you a message I was going to tell you before class. It's a long story, Derek said awkwardly. People were chasing me for autographs. Can you imagine? Like Victor Krum? Hermione asked. Exactly like Krum, Derek confirmed. Hermione's expression flickered between trying not to laugh and serious contemplation. Why am I suddenly popular? Derek asked, confused. Just because I threw a fire dragon into a mud pit? Does Harry get this treatment too? Maybe because you're closer to what people expect a champion to be, Hermione said slowly. Look, you're foreign, a bit mysterious, and academically excellent. After becoming a champion, people doubted you, but you proved yourself in the first task. Everyone had to acknowledge you were the best among the 4 champions, easily handling the dragon. You're tall, mature-looking, and skilled in magic. If we ignore age, you meet all the champion standards. Harry, not quite. He has fame, yes, but people still see him as young, you know? Just barely, Derek said. Hearing you put it like that, I realize I actually have quite a few strengths. Unbelievable. Mr. Greedo, Professor Victor raised his voice. Please solve the problem on the board. Ah, right. Derek stood and quickly scanned the densely written numbers. The calculations are complex. We arrive at an integer. In theory, one should apply the wedge algorithm step by step, but in practice, this falls under the second special case of the pyramid type. It should iterate 3 times within the pyramid before applying the wedge. So, excellent, Mr. Greedo. If only you'd focus on me too, Victor said with a smile. What do you think, Miss Granger? Yes, exactly, Professor, Hermione stammered, cheeks flushing. A ripple of suppressed laughter ran through the classroom. The rest of the lesson passed quietly, all attention on parchment and blackboard. After class, Hermione led Derek beside a suit of armor and relayed Harry's message. Ludo Bagnall? Derek's eyebrows shot up. He offered to help Harry? Yes, Hermione said. Right before your dragon duel, he called Harry outside the tent to give him some tips, but Harry refused. Bloody hell, what are these people doing? Derek rubbed his temple, feeling trapped in an inescapable maze. Karkaroff already had enough suspicious moves, and now Bagnall too. In a couple of days, will Madame Maxime make a big announcement as well? The Triwizard Tournament has become a complex gamble. It seems everyone wants to use it for their own ends, Hermione said, massaging her head in frustration, making her hair even fluffier. What should we do? I don't know either, Derek said, kicking the armor. Take it step by step. This week's herbology lesson involved fertilizing the biting vines. After a morning of strenuous work, everyone was sore, covered in mud splatters. The greenhouse smelled strongly of Professor Sprout's favorite fertilizer, dragon dung. When the bell rang, Professor Sprout raised her voice over the noise. Hufflepuffs, don't leave. I have a few words for you. After the Gryffindors had departed, she cleared her throat and spoke in an adult, conversational tone. The Yule Ball is approaching, a traditional part of the Triwizard Tournament and a great opportunity to interact with our foreign guests. The ball is open to students in their 4th year and above, though you may invite a younger student if you wish. Susan and Hannah giggled inexplicably, linking arms and giving Derek an ambiguous look. Enough, girls. You have time to plan this, Sprout continued. The ball will be held on Christmas Eve at 8 p.m. and end at midnight. Her eyes scanned the students, softening with a touch of encouragement. The Yule Ball is a place, well, to relax. You have the chance to spend a wonderful special Christmas with a partner. Ernie and Justin covered their mouths, snickering. Derek knew why. Imagining Professor Sprout, with her wild hair, patched hat, muddy robe, and faintly aromatic mix of plants and fertilizer, gracefully dancing in a gown required a vivid imagination. Now he understood the purpose of the blue formal robe in the trunk. I expect you to show Hufflepuff spirit, Sprout said, raising her voice above the murmurs. Class dismissed. Go prepare. Greedo, stay behind. I need a word with you. After the others left, she said, Derek, champions traditionally have partners. The ball opens with the champions and their partners dancing. In the past, there were 3 pairs. This year, 4. The greenhouse was silent, save for a seedling box where a biting vine kept squeaking. The dragon dung inside was far too plentiful. Derek hadn't expected karma to arrive so quickly. Half a minute ago, he had found Professor Sprout dancing with someone amusing, and now he was being told that he himself was an essential part of the ball. Professor, are you saying I have to have a partner and lead the dance with her? Derek asked to confirm. You understand perfectly, Professor Sprout said with a cheerful smile. No problem, Derek. Ah, no problem, Professor. Derek felt another source of trouble added to his mind. Do I need to prepare anything else? If you're unsure, go to the library and check out a few books on dancing. Professor Sprout patted his arm reassuringly. Don't be nervous. Be brave. I should remind you, good girls at Hogwarts are always in high demand. Professor, I'm not nervous, Derek muttered dryly as he left the greenhouse. Outside, Ernie and Justin were waiting for him. I've decided I'm staying at Hogwarts for Christmas this year, Ernie announced confidently. So you're planning to find a dance partner? Derek asked. That's a technical matter, Ernie dodged. The main point is I'm attending the Christmas ball. Are you thinking of asking Justin to be your partner? Derek sighed. Going alone would make you a laughingstock. Justin's face turned a deep red black. You're not going back to America for Christmas, right? Justin shot back. Oh, I guess you're too attached to Hogwarts to leave now. Why? The girls, Justin said, narrowing his eyes. Have you forgotten the ones asking for your autograph? I'd bet they'd line up just to dance with you. Oh, that's a good pool to choose from. Thanks, Derek said coldly. Professor Sprout said that as a champion, I have to attend the ball and lead the first dance. Neither Ernie nor Justin showed any surprise. Those showy things belong to champions. You represent the school, Ernie said. Have you decided who to ask as your partner? Not at all. I've only known about this for less than 10 minutes, Derek said, rubbing his nose. You'd better decide quickly, Ernie chuckled foolishly. Or all the good girls will be taken, Derek finished. Thanks for the tip. Professor Sprout already warned me. No, I mean your female admirers, Ernie said with envy. Imagine a bunch of girls vying to be your partner. That's a happy problem. Derek shivered. He had to admit it was a very real possibility. By custom, Christmas was spent with family, so whether at Ilvermorny or Hogwarts, Derek had originally planned to go home. But the Triwizard Tournament traditions clearly took priority. This year, he would have his first Christmas away from home. Unlike champions, students could choose, but all 4th years and above seemed to be staying. Everyone was obsessed with the upcoming ball. At least all the girls were. Derek was suddenly surprised by their excitement. Girls giggling and whispering in the hallways, shrieking when a boy passed, exchanging opinions on what to wear that evening. Derek, do you have a partner yet? Derek, may I invite you? Derek, I was thinking. Ever since the ball was announced, Derek had been frequently stopped in the hall. Not for autographs this time, but invitations to the ball. Ernie and Justin were growing slightly envious. What are you hesitating for? Justin said after Derek declined a Gryffindor girl. That girl was gorgeous. Maybe he's overwhelmed by choices or can't decide, Ernie teased. For Derek, one partner is never enough. You two should focus on finding your own partners first, Derek said expressionlessly. I'm heading to the library. Watching him climb the stairs, the two fell silent. To stay calm and head to the library at such an exciting time, truly worthy of our grade's 2nd place, Ernie remarked. Wait, I get it. He and Justin exchanged a glance and laughed like fools. They were only half right. Derek did meet Hermione in the library, but the purpose was to study the golden egg. An hour and a half later, Hermione slammed a book shut and pressed her hands to her temples, as if trying to squeeze inspiration from her skull. All right, let's organize our thoughts, she said anxiously. Bagman said the clues in the golden egg will tell us what the 2nd task is. But right now, all it contains are shrill screams, Derek finished with her. So the puzzle is to decipher the screams. But I can't find anything related, Hermione said nervously. The complete guide to magical riddles, mind puzzles, 1,000 timed riddles. None of them mentioned screams. Maybe we should check the restricted section? You have Professor Sprout's note, so we could access deeper books. Perhaps asking Harry to consult Ludo Bagman would help, Derek teased as Hermione fretted. At least he might provide some useful insight. No way. Maybe Bagnall's plan is to get you killed in the second task. Oh no, he's back. Why can't he just stay on that idiotic big boat reading a book? Hermione said irritably. Victor Krum slouched into view, giving them a gloomy glance, then carried a stack of books to a distant corner and sat down. Let's go, Derek. Let's head back to that empty classroom on the third floor. His Fangirl Club members will be here soon, chirping like mad. So annoying. Sure enough, as they left the library with their heavy tomes, a group of girls tiptoed past, one wearing a Bulgarian scarf around her waist. You look more nervous than us, Hermione, Derek said in the hallway. The tournament doesn't start until February 24th. We have nearly 3 months to prepare. But solving this puzzle could take weeks. And Harry is still rereading Flying with the Cannons over and over, Hermione ground her teeth. You're not planning to just sit around, ending up a clueless fool, are you? No, I think the tournament is just one part of life, Derek said. There are plenty of other things to focus on. Figuring out who threw our names in, completing Snape's potion, the Yule Ball. Speaking of which, has Harry invited a partner yet? No, he wants to ask Cho, but he probably can't muster the courage. Hermione's voice softened subtly. I haven't asked you, who are you planning to invite, Derek? I haven't decided yet, he admitted. I'm a little torn. Oh, Hermione stretched the word. Care to share? Well, a number of students have asked me to the ball, and it's becoming annoying. Ernie and Justin suggested picking the prettiest girl so the invitations would stop. Derek noticed Hermione's eyes flicker like a spark of intensity. I'm listening, Derek. Go on, she said. But I don't want to do that. Inviting someone means you're willing to form a closer relationship, right? Derek felt a little uneasy, but continued. And these girls probably see me like Krum's fan club sees him. They don't really know me. They just saw my performance in the first task, thought I was cool, had that champion aura, and invited me. I don't like that. Even if it's just dancing, it should be with someone who appreciates you too. Otherwise, it's awkward. Don't you agree? Derek expected Hermione to analyze the situation rationally, like they usually did with studies, but her face flushed slightly. Her expression strange, as if hiding some emotion. Good point, Hermione said, her tone rising. So, have you found a girl who appreciates you back? Derek shook his head. Not yet, I haven't thought that far, he admitted. This term's been too busy. Classes, homework, tournament prep, transfiguration practice, uncovering the truth. My head's never been this full. Less important matters can wait. I'll deal with it later. Right, that's a smart way to think. Very smart, extremely smart. Hermione's face turned nearly as red as when she was angry at Ron, and she snapped sharply. Compared to your big matters, this is trivial. Anyway, plenty of girls support you. Just pick one later. I'm heading back to the common room. She shoved the stack of books she was holding into Derek's arms and hurried upstairs. Derek stood there, dazed, for the first time feeling a disconnect between his thinking and Hermione's. Wait, Hermione? A girl? He had a really good relationship with her and admired her intelligence. He suddenly realized his mistake, dropped the towering stack of books he was about to choke on, and sprinted toward the 8th floor. He finally knew who he should invite to the Yule Ball. Chapter 60, The Invitation. Derek sprinted down the corridor and spotted Hermione at the entrance of the Gryffindor Tower on the 8th floor. The portrait had just swung open, and she was about to climb through with a red-haired girl. Hermione! Hermione! He shouted. Wait! Don't go in yet! I need to talk to you! The red-haired girl tapped Hermione and whispered something in her ear. Derek recognized her immediately. Ginny Weasley, Ron's younger sister. The doorway on the wall vanished, replaced by a plump woman in pink robes. Hermione leaned against the wall with her arms crossed, shooting him an impatient glare. If you're here to drag me to the empty classroom to flip through books, forget it, she said coldly. I'm reviewing my potions notes right now. It won't take long. I just have one question, Derek said, ruffling his messy hair. I'll leave immediately after. Hermione's face suddenly flushed. Ginny, amused, took a few steps back, watching the exchange. Okay, ask your question. Hermione lowered her head, hesitating. Or, should we go somewhere else to talk? No need. I'll ask right here, Derek said seriously. Dear Miss Granger, may I have the honor of attending the Christmas ball with you? He even bowed dramatically after speaking. Hermione's face was so hot it could fry an egg. You mean you and I? Hermione flailed awkwardly. Going to the Christmas ball together? Yes, exactly that, Derek replied smoothly. Would you be my partner, Hermione? I would, Hermione answered instantly. Then she vigorously ruffled her fluffy hair and gestured toward the doorway behind her. I should get back. I need to return to the common room and look at my notes. All right, I won't keep you. See you in the library tonight? Derek smiled. See you tonight, Hermione said stiffly, turning unnaturally to give the portrait the password. Before climbing through, Hermione glanced back. Derek waved, and a smile broke across her face. Ginny, hidden nearby, gave him a thumbs up. Wow, very nice, she mouthed. Derek strolled down the stairs, feeling a rush of relief, and couldn't resist humming a little rap. He felt an inexplicable surge of strength, as if he could take on 3 fire-breathing dragons at once. Then he touched his head and realized something was wrong. Had he forgotten something? Oh no, he muttered, dashing toward the 3rd floor. The pile of books in the library was still on the floor. The final week of the semester made Hogwarts livelier and louder each day. Rumors about the Christmas ball buzzed everywhere, and no one could focus on studying, not Derek or Hermione. Ernie insisted on dragging Derek to the dorm to practice dancing. When Derek raised doubts, Ernie swore they could switch roles and let each of them take turns leading. Hermione, abandoning her books, flipped through a stack of colorful pamphlets, muttering to herself. Some teachers, like Professor Flitwick, noticed the students' distraction and gave up lecturing. He let them play games in class while spending most of his time advising Derek on the quick blink and stun spells used in the first task, offering numerous casting tips. Other professors were far stricter. Professor Binns remained utterly focused on his notes about rebellious goblins, giving no quarter. Professor McGonagall and Mad-Eye Moody left no room for idleness, increasing their demands. Snape, of course, was even harsher. He'd rather give Derek full marks than let students slack in class, glaring ominously at the class and announcing a potion antidote quiz for the last lesson. Hogwarts seemed determined to impress Beauxbatons and Durmstrang guests, aiming to showcase the castle at its finest this Christmas. The school was lavishly decorated. Icicles hung from marble stair railings. 12 Christmas trees in the great hall were adorned with glittering holly and live golden owls that kept chirping. Enchanted suits of armor sang carols whenever someone passed. The castle brimmed with festive cheer. Meanwhile, Harry faced a problem of his own with choosing a dance partner. After a failed attempt to ask Cho, he returned to the Gryffindor common room dejected. Inside, he was surprised to see someone in even worse spirits. Ron, pale and slumped in a corner. Ginny sat beside him, offering comfort. "What's wrong, Ron?" Harry asked. Ron looked up, still shaken. "Why did I do that? I don't even know why I did it." "What?" Harry asked. He just tried to ask Fleur Delacour to the ball," Ginny said, trying not to laugh as she patted his arm sympathetically. "What's wrong with you?" Harry asked. "I don't know why I did it," Ron panted. "What was I thinking? The place was packed, people everywhere. I saw her talking to Derek in the hall, and I lost control and asked her." He groaned, covering his face with his hands. His words were hard to follow, but he kept going. "She looked at me like I was a sea cucumber or something, totally disdainful. And then, I don't know, I just snapped back to reality and ran away." "She has some Vila blood," Harry said. "Her grandmother was a Vila. It's not your fault. She was probably casting that charm on Derek at the time, and you just happened to walk by, so you got caught up in it." "What?" Ginny shouted. "Derek, did he accept?" "Probably not," Ron whispered, continuing. "For those few seconds, I barely recognized him. He looked like a different person, empty, distant eyes, no emotion. He refused her." Ginny exhaled in relief. "Fleur really is beautiful, charming," Harry analyzed. "Why would Derek refuse her? Does he already have a partner?" "I haven't heard any rumors about that," Ron said. "He's been getting a lot of attention lately. If he had asked someone, word would have spread fast. Never mind that, Harry. He's definitely not lacking a partner." How about you? I just asked Cho, Harry said dryly, but she's already accepted Diggory. The three of them sighed together. This is ridiculous, Ron said. Only the two of us don't have partners. Oh, and Neville. Guess who he asked? Hermione. Harry said. Yeah, I know about it. Ron laughed, his color returning. He told me after potions. He said she's always been kind, helping him with homework and stuff, but Hermione told him she'd already said yes to someone else. Ha! As if she just didn't want to go with Neville. I mean, who would ask her? No laughing, Ginny scolded, fuming. Just then, Hermione crawled in through the hole behind the portrait. Why aren't you two having dinner? She asked, walking over to sit with them. Because, don't laugh, you two, because both of them asked girls to the ball and got rejected, Ginny said. Harry and Ron immediately went silent. Thanks for that, Ginny, Ron said sarcastically. Most of the good girls already have partners. You should hurry, Hermione said cheerfully. I heard a very wise saying today. At Hogwarts, good girls are in high demand. Ron stared at Hermione, seemingly seeing her in a completely new light. Hermione, Neville's right. You are a good girl. Oh, thank you, Hermione said, pulling a small booklet from her pocket and opening it to read. So, you could pick one of us. No, I can't, Hermione said absent-mindedly. Oh, come on, he said impatiently. We need partners. If everyone else has one and we don't, it'll be embarrassing. I can't go with you. Hermione finally looked up from the booklet, smiling. Because I already promised someone else. No, you didn't, Ron said. You're just saying that to get out of going with Neville. Oh, really? Hermione said, her eyes flashing dangerously. It took you 3 years to realize I'm a good girl, Ron. That doesn't mean no one else noticed. Ron stared at her, then grinned. All right, we get it. You're a good girl, he said. Can we move on now? Will you say yes? Think whatever you like. I already have a partner, Hermione said calmly and proudly. Keep looking, Ron. I'm sure you'll find someone willing to go with you eventually. With that, she clutched her booklet and walked toward the girls' dormitory. She's lying, Ron said blankly, watching her walk away. She isn't, Ginny whispered. How do you know? Ron asked. I was there when she was asked, Ginny said. She was genuinely happy. Oh, who was it? Ron asked sharply. I can't tell you. That's her private business, Ginny said. Right, Ron muttered, completely at a loss. Looks like the two of us are going to be the joke, Harry, the only ones without partners. Even without a partner, you won't embarrass yourself like I did, Harry said hollowly. I'm the one opening the ball. At that moment, Harry spotted Parvati and Lavender from their year. He decided that this time he was going all in. Chapter 61. Daily Life in the Library. Although the teachers had assigned fourth-year students a mountain of homework over the holiday, it posed no challenge for Derek and Hermione. After spending a few days in the library, they had nearly finished all their papers. During this time, Hermione's mood soared. A subtle smile often lingered on her lips. Rarely did she allow Derek to borrow her magical history and astronomy assignments to copy. Previously, she had always insisted that every subject has its unique purpose and must be taken seriously, only letting him compare his work after finishing his own. Remarkably, she now even studied Animagus Transfiguration seriously with him, something that would have been unthinkable before. However, her good mood evaporated as soon as she learned one particular thing. How dare she? How dare she use a love attraction charm on you? Hermione clenched her quill so tightly it bent into a sharp arc. It's just... How did you find out? Derek was slightly startled, but then it clicked. Ron actually shared the whole incident with you too. He really is brave enough to face the harsh realities of life. I get the feeling you enjoyed the whole process, Hermione said through gritted teeth. No, I didn't. I just found it amusing. It was really, really ridiculous, Derek said casually, glancing at the notebook section on surface-bound object transfiguration. Fleur intercepted me in the hall just as Ron walked by. Her magic misfired. Part hit me, part affected Ron. His eyes glued to her, dazed, and he came over inviting her to the ball. Actually, it wasn't really an invitation. He basically yelled at her. Pretty scary. Derek grinned, but Hermione's expression remained stern, prompting him to add, Of course, my mind is perfectly clear. Rest assured, my partner is Hermione Granger, not Fleur Delacour. Is that so? Hermione asked skeptically. You forget? The love attraction performance at the World Cup opening didn't affect me at all, let alone someone with love attraction lineage, Derek said. Let's get back to discussing surface-bound object transfiguration. Quite interesting. If my animagus form were a dog, would the robe's different colors change the color of the fur? Hermione, however, didn't follow his train of thought on animagus forms. After a brief pause, she asked a new question. How did you do it? She asked. All the other boys were affected to varying degrees, but you didn't change at all. Incredible. Derek sat up straighter. It was a question worth discussing. Well, several reasons. I think the key is willpower, he said thoughtfully. During the love attraction performance, Sirius and Mr. Weasley were fairly normal. Adults' willpower is obviously stronger than children's. But there are exceptions, like me, he added, unabashedly praising himself. Honestly, I have stronger willpower than many adults. In defense against the dark arts, Moody's Imperious Curse barely worked on me. That's a reflection of both willpower and character strength. And it's not just about passively resisting mental spells. When you cast a spell with full confidence, unwavering determination, and fearlessness, its effect can far exceed what you imagine. Harry is a good example. In the first task, he performed beyond his level. A fourth-year student, still young, not specialized in spells, practiced a stunning spell for just over a week, yet he caused massive harm to the dragon's eyes. Like Quidditch, he's a competitor. He performs best under pressure. Hermione rested her head in her hands, listening attentively, eyes soft and focused. Wow, shocked again by my broad knowledge, huh? Derek raised an eyebrow. Hermione winked slyly. One last question. You must have used some kind of spell, right? She said confidently. Ginny relayed Ron's words. Your eyes were empty, deep, emotionless. That's not just willpower. Derek realized she wanted the whole story. If you insist, I'll tell you, but keep it secret, he sighed. You guessed right. I practiced a very useful spell that protects the mind from intrusion and interference. What spell? Hermione asked. He cleared his throat deliberately. That's technically a second question. Can I skip answering? Hermione glanced back at her magical history homework, narrowing her eyes slightly. Fine, fine. Mind closure spell, Derek said, pulling a parchment closer with his left hand and handing her Lupin's notebook with his right. If you're interested, we can study it together. It's boring alone. Hermione accepted the notebook, reading intently. Have you noticed you can't resist answering questions and seeking new knowledge? Derek said casually. I think know-it-all suits you well. Thanks, I take that as a compliment, Hermione huffed. Derek smiled, setting aside the animagus notes to start copying her paper. Half an hour later, Hermione let out a soft tsk. Fascinating, absolutely fascinating. I never imagined such a spell could exist, she said, returning the notebook to Derek's bag. Truly eye-opening. You're not going to study it further? Derek asked. That's unusual. What's the point of practicing the mind closure spell? Hermione analyzed. It's designed to counter legilimency. No one at Hogwarts is going to stick a wand in our heads. You're not looking carefully enough, young lady. It does more than that, Derek said, counting on his fingers. First, it helps regulate emotions, a great extinguisher when you're angry. Second, it boosts mental defenses. After practicing, you can resist various mental spells, including the Imperious Curse. Finally, it stabilizes thinking, which is excellent for learning magic and casting spells. I still think focusing on current studies is more important, Hermione said. From your perspective, that's the right choice, Derek shrugged. The effort to benefit ratio of mind closure spell is hardly favorable. It's unlikely to see practical use, and few can perform advanced legilimency. So how's your ball preparation going? Hermione flinched slightly, caught off guard, her legs trembling. Why are you asking that? I wanted to check your dancing skills, Derek said. We'll be opening the ball, so at least we can't embarrass ourselves. If you're not confident, we should find a place to practice first. I know ballroom dancing. My parents taught me, Hermione said nervously. But my quick steps aren't very good. I often step on my father's feet. I'm about the same, Derek said with certainty. It'll be enough for the ball. Phew, that's a relief, Hermione exhaled, though her body remained tense. Relax, it's not that serious, Derek said, trying to reassure her. I expect that after the first dance, everyone else will join in. Nobody will notice any mistakes by then. Uh, Crumb and his fan club are here again. Let's just go to the empty classroom, glancing at the large figure who had just sat near them. It's chaotic, impossible to focus. All right, no problem, Derek agreed, stuffing his stationery and books into his bag and following Hermione out. Once outside the library, Hermione's shoulders slumped and she let out a slow breath. Does Crumb distract you a lot? Derek asked, curious. You leave as soon as he shows up. Yes, it's really annoying, Hermione said, nodding vigorously. The girls in his fan club chatter constantly, but quietly enough that Madam Pince can't manage them. My gut tells me it's not that simple, Derek said, sensing his wand's position with his arm. Any Slytherin girls in the fan club giving you trouble? No, absolutely not, Hermione said firmly. I just want a quiet place to read, but the library is always noisy. Can we study in an empty classroom for the next couple of days? Derek looked at her skeptically. All right, fine. I'll follow your lead. Chapter 62, The Yule Ball. On Christmas morning, Derek woke to a soft rustling around him. Opening his eyes, he saw his 3 roommates, usually late risers, eagerly unwrapping presents at the foot of their beds. You're late, mate, Ernie said from behind a pile of wrapping paper. I'm always on time. It's you guys who got up too early, Derek said, squinting in the dim light as he located his own pile of gifts. The power of Christmas gifts is unparalleled. Seems becoming a champion hasn't gotten you much more in the gift department, Grado, Zacharias Smith remarked critically, glancing at Derek's pile. Care to share your thoughts? I thought you wouldn't dare speak to me this term, Zacharias, Derek said. All the things you schemed for but didn't get? I picked them up casually. Bet that stings. Want to share how it feels? Zacharias flushed, chest puffing out, and hastily grabbed his gifts before storming out of the dormitory. Cool, Derek. Your words are as impressive as your presence, Ernie said, holding up a miniature model of a fire crossbow. Even if I can't have a real one, just seeing this is awesome. You're welcome, Ernie, Derek said. Besides carrying people, it can do everything a real fire crossbow can. Try it out. Ernie tossed the model into the air. The miniature crossbow zipped around his head, prompting a string of amazed exclamations. This is incredible, Derek, Justin said, waving 2 glass display cases containing 14 tiny figures representing the Irish and Bulgarian teams. No big deal, Derek said casually, setting up a soft mat on the floor and sitting down to open his Christmas gifts. Claire had given him a notebook filled with notes on defensive, counter, and dark curses. Jansen gave him a book titled 100 Things a Young Wizard Should Know, both wishing him an enjoyable Christmas in their letters. His grandparents sent the latest gaming console, like every year, popular with kids, though he'd have to wait until summer to play it at home. Ernie gave him a brand new crackling exploding card set. Justin gave a Jordan number 23 jersey. Susan and Hannah gave a theft-proof wallet with a trembling metal clasp that glinted sharply. Harry gave a large box of the latest Honeydukes candies. Ron gave a bulging bag of dung bombs. Hermione gave a silver brooch. At the very bottom lay a crushed cardboard box, gifts from Lupin and Sirius. Lupin had sent an unusual protective charm, while Sirius's gift consisted of 2 small square mirrors, each containing a note. Studying in England must make it hard to stay in touch with your family, the note read. These are 2-way mirrors. Keep one for yourself and place the other in America. Whenever you need, call out to your family through it, and you'll appear in their mirror, and they can appear in yours to speak with you. Merry Christmas. Wow, a magical video call, Derek marveled. Thank you so much, Sirius. He hadn't expected the usually carefree Sirius to have such a thoughtful side, gifting such a rare magical item. Over generations, as wizardry had become simplified and standardized, much traditional knowledge had been lost, especially the craft of unique magical artifacts. The method for making 2-way mirrors was long forgotten, making each pair incredibly precious. These mirrors were far more valuable than the firebolt in the box. Derek pulled a sturdy box from under his bed and carefully placed the mirrors inside. He planned to deliver them to Claire personally over the summer. Sending such fragile treasures by owl was far too risky. In that regard, Sirius's usual recklessness still showed through. On this Christmas morning, almost everyone stayed in the common room, examining their gifts. Derek flipped through notes Claire had sent him, while watching Ernie and Justin play wizard's chess with a brand new set. The pieces distrusted their new masters completely, arguing among themselves